As I reflect back on as my childhood, there was school and then there was summer. And, back then it was important that we do well in school. That was always reinforced, at least in our household anyway. Uh, and then there was always the after school programs and things, but school was important. But what I remember about the West Side is the summer months when school was out, and there were always activities for all the kids in the neighborhood. They were either playing softball or baseball, playing a lot of basketball. A lot of the kids I grew up with played a lot of basketball in the summer months. Um, but we also had the opportunity to, in some instances, as we got older, get a summer job as well. And I remember my first summer job was walking from the west side to the east side of Bloomington to caddy. So I caddied at Bloomington Country Club when I was 12 years old. And that was one of the memories I have of being a young preteen, basically. Um, but prior to that, Bloomington Bloomington Rex, I think. It may not have been called that, but the city of Bloomington or either the housing authority had summer programs where they would hire interns and they would provide equipment to bring to the playgrounds, and there was always activities. And I don't know if I want to call it arts and crafts, but they were activities where we could, learn different games and interact with other kids in the neighborhood. So those are just some of the summer activities that I recall from growing up on the West Side. The other thing I remember about the West Side is that, I think it's a little bit different today, that, uh, and this is going to sound a little funny, but I guess sometimes when you're out playing, you get into a little mischief. And back in those days, when you got into a little mischief, there was usually an adult, and it may not have been a family member, it may have been a neighbor that would have corrected the error of your ways, basically. And I remember that just growing up and reflecting on today. I don't know that it's the same. Where if kids are out doing something, if a neighbor or someone says something to them, you might have a few other challenges on your hands. But back then, someone could help you maybe see the right way to do things and not get into trouble.
The neighborhood looked out for each other.
The neighborhood looked out for each other. That's probably a good way to say it. So those are some of the things I remember about growing up. We did a lot of things. We swam in the summers. Miller Park, believe it or not, Miller Park was the place to go swimming. We didn't have swimming pools all over town. There were maybe one or two, but we did a lot of our swimming at the Miller Park. Uh, I'm not sure what they called that, but the lake, I guess, is what it is. And that was a lot of fun because today, if you go somewhere, it's usually you catch a ride with somebody, an automobile. Back then, we either rode our bikes or we walked, and no one cared about. I mean, we didn't mind walking at all. Walking was kind of fun because there were a lot of things you could do along the way if you're out walking together. And we usually walked together in groups of 4, 5, or 6, group of friends as we went to take on some of the activities that we were involved in. So those are some of the memories that I have of the West Side. Um, it was a lot of fun. It was a fun time to grow up.